I shoved my hands into my pockets and ambled across the parking lot, kicking pebbles with my toes as I walked. Soon I'd reached the sidewalk. I stopped and looked around. It was either the hedges or the business district across the highway, or be spotted by Dr. Healer and go back in for an extended session. No thanks. I pulled my hands out of my pockets and waited at the edge of the sidewalk for the cars to pass. Maybe I could find Mom's car at Shop and Shop in the strip mall just on the other side of the highway. There was a clearing in cars, and I limped across. Mom's car wasn't in the lot at Shop and Shop. I'd looked them all over twice. She hadn't pulled back into Dr. Healer's lot either. That much I could see from the Shop and Shop parking lot, and I was getting thirsty. I hoofed it into Shop and Shop and puttered around until I found the drinking fountain. I stopped at the magazine racks and flipped through a few magazines. I walked down the candy aisle wishing I had money for a chocolate fix, but it didn't take long for me to get bored. Back outside, I stood on tiptoe and craned my neck to see Dr. Healer's parking lot. Mom's car still wasn't there, and now neither was Dr. Healer's. I sighed and sat on the sidewalk, my back pressed against the front window of Shop and Shop, until the manager came and told me I had to move on. Customers didn't like to see homeless people loitering in front of the store, he said. It makes them nervous, he said. This ain't the City Union Mission, kid, he said. So I walked a few doors down looking for a good place to sit. The cell phone store was jumping, and so was the place where Mom used to take me to get my hair cut when I was little. I stared in the windows watching a little girl cry as her mother held her head so that the beautician could have a go at her blonde baby locks. I gazed into the cell phone store too, where everyone looked angry, including the employees. Soon I was at the end of the strip and was just about to turn around and head back to Shop and Shop when I saw a door open on the side of the building. A giant-breasted woman, wearing a denim smock busy with fabric paint and costume gems, stepped out and shook a cloth into the air. Glitter flew everywhere when she shook it. She looked like Cinderella's fairy godmother behind the cloud of all that glitter. She saw me watching her and smiled at me. "Sometimes we have a spill," she said brightly, and disappeared back inside, pulling the glittery cloth in with her. I'll admit it. Curiosity got me. I wanted to know what kind of spill would look so glorious, so shiny. Spills are usually ugly and messy, not beautiful. As soon as the door closed behind me, I could feel the whole world shut out. Inside, the place was crammed, dark, and smelled like church on Easter Sunday. There were rows and rows of ceiling-high shelves, nearly toppling under the weight of plaster busts. Ceramic bowls, wooden trunks, baskets, pots, interestingly shaped cardboard boxes. I wandered down one of the aisles, feeling dwarfed. At the end of the aisle, I was dumped into a clearing, and I gasped. There were easels everywhere, at least a dozen of them, and a long table covered with newspapers next to an eastward-facing window. All around were baskets and boxes of supplies, paints, cloth, ribbons, lumps of clay, pens. The denim-smocked lady that I'd seen outside was perched on a stool in front of an easel, stroking wide purple stripes across the canvas. "I think the morning sun is most inspiring, don't you?" she said without turning around. I didn't answer. Of course, at this time of day, all the people in that grocery store are getting the brilliant light. But she raised her paintbrush and poked the air with it. I get the most inspiring sun of the day. They can have their sunset. It's the sunrise that gets people's attention. Rebirth always does. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't even entirely sure she was talking to me. She still had her back turned to me and was working so intently on her painting, I'd wondered if maybe she was talking to herself. I was rooted to the spot anyway, not sure where to look first. I wanted to touch things, run my fingers along plaster vases, and smell the insides of boxes, and squish my hands into a lump of clay, and was afraid if I moved, even moved my lips, I'd give in to my whim and be lost in this labyrinth of uncreation forever. She added a few dabs of purple in the corners of her canvas, then got off her stool and stood back, admiring her work. "There," she said. "Perfect." She placed her palette on the stool and balanced the paintbrush across it, and then finally turned to face me. "What do you think?" she asked. "Too much purple?" She turned and studied it some more. "Never too much purple," she muttered. "The world needs more purple, more and more, don't you know?" "I like purple," I said. She clapped her hands twice. "Well, then," she said, "that settles it. Tea?" She bustled behind the cash register, and I could hear china clattering around. "How do you take it?" she asked, her voice muffled. I said, shuffling forward. I can't. I have to get back outside. My mom." Her head popped up. A lock of frosted brown hair had come forward over her forehead. "Oh, and I was hoping to get some company today. This place always seems so abandoned after my classes leave. Too quiet. Great for mousies, not for Bea. That's me." She sipped out of a tiny teacup with rabbits printed on the front of it. A teacup from a child's tea set. She held out her pinky while she drank. "You teach classes here?" I asked. "Oh, yes," she said. She came around the counter with a flourish. "I teach classes. Lots and lots of classes. Pottery, painting, macrame, you name it, I teach it." I moved to my left just slightly and pushed a finger into a bucket of wooden beads. "Can anyone take a class?" She frowned. "No," she answered, staring at my hand in the bead bucket. I pulled it out with a jerk, and 2 beads danced across the floor. She smiled when I blushed, as if my embarrassment were endearing to her. "Oh, no, I don't teach just anyone. Some teach me." I was just about to leave when she reached out and grabbed my hand. She flipped it palm up and studied it, her penciled-on eyebrows shooting up into her nest of hair. "Oh!" she exclaimed. "Oh!" I tried to pull my hand back, but didn't put much oomph behind it. As weirded out as I was getting from her touching me, I wanted to know what her O's were about. "I should go," I said. She ignored me. "Well, I can spot another artist anywhere, and you are one, yes? Of course you are. You like purple." She turned and clasped my hand harder, pulling me behind her. She took me to the canvas she'd just been working on. With her free hand, she picked up the palette and brush on the stool and pointed to it. "Sit," she said. "I really think I should. Oh, do sit. The stool doesn't like it when its invitations go unnoticed." I sat. She handed me the paintbrush. "Paint," she said. "Go on." I stared at her. "On this? On your picture?" "Pictures are taken by photographers. This is a painting, so paint it." I stared at her a beat longer. She pushed my hand toward the canvas. "Go on." Slowly, I dipped the brush into the black paint and made a stripe across the canvas, perpendicular to the purple. She said, and then, "Oh." The best way I can describe the feeling was that it was miraculous, or maybe soulful, or maybe both. I don't know. All I know is that I couldn't stop at that one line or the next splotch or the tree-like dots I made along one border. And all I know is that I felt far away when I was doing it, and that I could barely hear Bea's little exclamations behind me, her humming, her talking in baby voices to the colors I dipped into. "Oh, yes, it's your turn, Okra. Does Whittle Cornflower want a chance?" Before I knew it, I was ripped out of my reverie by a buzzing in the front pocket of my jeans. My cell phone startling me away from the canvas, which suddenly just looked like a canvas again. "Oh, dratted technology," Bea muttered as I answered. "Why can't we communicate by carrier pigeons anymore? Beautiful feathers with a lovely note attached. I could use some pigeon feathers around here, or peacock. Oh, yes, peacock. Only nobody ever communicated by peacock, I don't think." "Where are you?" Mom's voice bleated on the other end of the phone. "I've been worried sick. No Dr. Healer, no you. For God's sake, Valerie, why can't you just stay put like I asked you to? Do you know where my mind was going?" "I'll be right there," I mumbled into the phone. I got up from the stool as I shoved the phone back into my pocket. "Sorry," I said to Bea, "my mom." She swatted the air with one hand, picking up a broom with the other, making a beeline for a pile of sawdust under a woodworking table by the far wall. "Never be sorry about a mother," she answered. "Be sorry for a mother, yes, but about one, most certainly not. Mothers almost always love purple. I should know. I had a very purplish mother." I scurried down the aisle we'd come in through, feeling like I was fleeing a dark and mystical forest, and had just about reached the door when Bea's voice floated across the store. "I do hope I'll see you back next weekend, Valerie." I smiled and plunged outside. It wasn't until I ducked into Mom's car, breathless and sweaty from hurry and acceleration, that I remembered I'd never told Bea my name at all.